Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. During the pandemic, our civil liberties have been curtailed in a way which was previously unimaginable. Most of us have accepted this in order to protect life and public health, but along the way, injustices have occurred. Black Lives Matter protesters in London were kettled and photographed and asked to provide their names as a condition of their liberty with no legal basis. Yet police allowed football fans to party on the streets of Glasgow and even gave them a police escort to their destination of choice. Then, last weekend, police officers manhandled and detained women protesting the alleged abduction and murder of a woman with which a police officer is charged. It's hard to imagine a more egregious misuse of police powers. All of this has occurred because the law on protest in a pandemic is not clear. But the provisions in this bill to curtail the right to protest beyond the pandemic are even worse. The bill affords significantly expanded powers to the police to stop protests which would cause serious unease, and it creates criminal penalties for people causing serious annoyance. But causing annoyance is part of our freedom of speech. If you can prevent a protest for being annoying, you can prevent any protest. All movements for change involve an element of peaceful protest. Think of the suffragettes. I'm sure many of us did think about the suffragettes when we saw the photographs from Clapham Common on Saturday night. If women can't speak up to protest their rights, then what is our society coming to? Yes, the Extinction Rebellion protests may have been very annoying to those of us going about our business in London's streets and public transport, but they were protesting the biggest problem of our age, climate change, and I think that gives them the right to be a bit annoying. We've now seen what can happen when the law governing our right to protest is unclear. The same problems will occur if the margin of discretion granted to the police and the Home Secretary is left as wide as it currently is in this bill. And although these legal changes will only have force in England and Wales, they will impact upon people living in Scotland. There's a long tradition of Scots travelling to London to protest. We saw this most recently with the huge demonstrations against Brexit, and past examples include the fight against Section 28 and the fight of the anti-war movement. Parliamentarians, whether of left or right, should never be in the business of giving governments and police forces powers to stifle dissent, particularly where there is a risk that those powers will be used against those whose beliefs make the government and the establishment of the day uncomfortable. I would say the same if I was worried that the Scottish Government was in danger of curtailing freedom of expression. And indeed I have, which is part of the reason I'm making this speech from the backbenches.
Video link, Joe Gideon.